It's Monday, and that means it's time for another episode of SideKick Power Hour with me, Joshua R. Pangborn. I am so excited to have you all here with me tonight. Last week we were not available for an episode because I was doing another gig, which I can't wait to post about. It was a wonderful, wonderful time working with a group called Queer XP. They do queer role playing games online, and I will be posting about that when it comes available. I played a really fun game though called Die, and not die as in but die as in rolling a die, which is a really fun game though. I can't wait to tell you all about it. And we have yes, it's great to see you as well. It is a bright spot in a dark day. I appreciate that. It is a bright spot for all of us. In fact, I have a bright spot that I didn't even know was going to happen. So before we bring in our special guest, I have a surprise guest that I didn't even know about until seconds ago. Everyone, I don't know how long we'll have them for, but everyone say hello to Nakia.
Hey y'all,
Hey,
I'm
Nakia.
I'm in Disneyland in California with Robert and our friends Justin and Collie and Spencer, and we are here on our Disney Association day. Um, we really wanted to disassociate ourselves with everything else, so here we are. But they just brought our dinner, and I just wanted to pop in and say hi. I love you. I miss you. And everybody celebrate freedom, celebrate love, um, love each other, and keep each other safe, and be strong.
We will. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and thank you for showing us another bright spot in the day. Uh, Nikia just left. I did not kick him out, by the way. So I'm assuming it's because he had dinner and he was very hungry. Which I imagine if you're walking around Los Angeles, Disneyland, you probably get hungry. I've never been to Disneyland. I can't say that I know what it's like. And Disney World, I went to in 1996, so it's been a very long time since I went there. But not important. Anyway, before we bring in tonight's special guest, who is a wonderful person that I've worked with on now going into 4 projects already, which is amazing. I've known them for only a few years, and I'm already working on 4 projects, 5 projects with them. Wow, they're just racking it up with Alvin. Before we go there, I just wanted to remind everybody that we are still in the middle of raising funds for our next feature film, The Contract. So if you want to help us make our 3rd feature film, go to thecontractfilm.com right now, and there are some fun perks there you can get. You can even become a producer on the movie, which I think is pretty darn cool. So come to thecontractfilm.com right now, and you can donate and support us because we need your support. I'll be talking a lot about support over the next couple episodes, I think, because as was mentioned, it is a difficult and dark day for many of us, and we're going to try our best to support one another through the next, well, always, but also specifically the next 4 years, I think. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring in one of my favorite people that I enjoy, who's a huge support as well, and is really a firm believer in the work that we do, and I'm a firm believer in the work that he does. Everyone, hello to Alvin Christmas.
Hey! Honestly, I'm super
Hello.
jealous of Nakia at Disneyland. I want to go to Disneyland.
Have you ever been to Disneyland?
I've never been to Disneyland. I've never been to Disney World. I'm just Disneyless. I have a
Really? You've
Disneyless
never been
life.
to either of them?
No.
But well, that's fair. Yeah. Have you been to California before?
I've never been to California. Never
I've
been to
only
the
been to
West Coast.
California for 2 days, 2.5 days, which is a really odd number. I know. I had to work though. It was Nikki. This is when Nikki and I had the opportunity to be guests of the What We Do in the Shadows season 4 Comic-Con party. We were invited to the
Nice.
party, so but it was also literally the it was the middle of summer. I couldn't take time off at my day job, But I flew out Friday morning and flew back Sunday morning, and so it's like the shortest time in California ever.
Yeah, you were literally there for like 5
But
minutes.
but it was really fun. Yeah, a very special episode of The Art of Blowing where everyone goes to Disneyland and everything goes haywire. That could be fun.
Yes, and make sure that I'm a part of that episode.
Yeah. Which also, this is one of the
Free trip.
projects that Alvin is a part of. Alvin, you will see later this year when we release The Art of Blowing It Season 2, because Alvin is a part of that. That is
Yeah,
one
I
of
have a
the
small
5
hand in
projects
that.
I've worked with you on in the
Yeah,
past
I'll say I've got a tiny
3
little
years
role
now
there.
at this point. So,
Hey,
um,
you know what? And to many more, because it doesn't feel like 5 projects at all. Right when you said 5, I was like, seriously? Already?
I agree. I was counting. I thought it was just 2, and then I was like, oh, and then the third one is the contract, and then oh wait, no, then there was that short film that we did, and then which has Catalan still editing, and then there's Art of Blowing It. So wow,
Oh,
it's
boy.
just
Yep, yeah. Yeah.
So Alvin, not everyone has a chance has had a chance to see you in A Taste of Youth or The Brooklyn Butcher. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself? Because this might be the first time that some of our viewers have seen Alvin Christmas, because of we haven't released Art of Blowing It yet. So
Yeah, of course, of course. First of all, see A Taste of Youth and see Brooklyn Butcher if you get an opportunity. Then you'll know more about me.
sounds great.
Exactly. Well, I'm Alvin Christmas. I am an actor, mostly based in New York, but also kind of based in the South right now. I have not actually been acting that long. It feels long. I've probably been acting for about like 5 or 6 years since college. But I moved up in 2020 to New York to attend the Stella Adler Studio of Acting. And after that, I've just been kind of doing the professional acting thing ever since. Yeah, and just working my way through things. I met, of course, Joshua, the wonderful, wonderful Joshua here. I think I was casted in A Taste of Youth. That was it had a different name at the time.
It was Wasted on the Young still when you
Wasted
auditioned
on
for
the
it.
Young. I remember. I think I submitted through Backstage or something. I was in acting school at that time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so we kind of hooked up, and honestly, I've been having so much fun working with you ever since. That's kind of
It's been a delight having you around. And so, wait, you didn't act before you moved to New York, really? Did you?
no. That's a weird story. I actually originally I studied engineering for a long time.
Interesting. Okay.
When I went to college, I studied engineering for about 3 years, and I happened to fall into the community theater there, like where my college was, Mississippi State. If anybody knows that, go Bulldogs, I guess. But I went. There was a small community theater called Starkville Community Theater. I started kind of getting in with them a little bit, just trying some things. I actually I had a friend who had a crush on a girl who really liked theater.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, will you go audition for their show with me, because I'm scared, because I want to impress this girl. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'll go audition. And we ended up getting the leads of that show, and which was really cool.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
yeah, and after that, I kind of fell into the theater in college, and then all of a sudden I find myself changing my major, and then I became a theater major. And then by the end of that, I had done a cattle call audition at a competition, a theater competition, and I got into Stella Adler. And so I moved up to New York and did 2 years there, and then I've been kind of just running ever since.
That's so cool. What was the show that you got cast in then? What was the first play?
Oh, it was called Incorruptible. I cannot remember who wrote that show,
I don't think it
but
was.
basically it was like we're two priests who wanted to sell miracles to people. And so we like hatched this plan to kind of get people to come in, because the kind of the church didn't have a lot of money, and we wanted to get more money to make the church nicer. So we hatched this plan to kind of like trick people into thinking we're performing miracles.
And everyone, this is why we know it's fiction, because he says the church didn't have a lot of money. So
We didn't have a lot of money. Exactly. Yeah. They are not taxed.
we have a friend in the audience, by the way, watching us.
Hey.
Elio is also part of the contract, and I've worked with Elio on 3 projects now, all because of Alvin, because Alvin introduced Elio to us. So
Love Elio. Hey, Elio. I was gonna
Hey,
say,
Elio.
we've
We will
worked.
have you on the show someday soon, I hope. But
Yes, yes, please.
I got to see Elio this weekend because we had a meeting for the contract because we were talking about his character and doing some early character work. Well, he's done a lot of character work. I'm just jumping in to see where he's at with it because that's what I do. I go in and I steal all the credit after they've done the work. So
As you should.
as the director does. So that's so cool. I didn't realize you didn't act before that. I felt like you were like grew up as an
Oh,
actor and everything. You seemed like
I wish. There's so many times that I'm like, dang, everyone's so far ahead of me, or something like that. I did a couple plays growing up. I played Scrooge in the Christmas Carol in the 3rd grade, and
well, there
then
we go.
there you go. And then I think I did the Christmas Carol again in like the 10th grade.
It's a very lovely show to do over and over again. It,
Yeah,
it
it's just
changes every
continue to
time
do
you
the
do it.
Christmas
So
Carol. Yeah, exactly.
well, if it makes you feel
Um,
better, a lot of the Crewniverse people didn't start acting until their late 30s and 40s. So
yeah,
so it's very normal
it's
to
never
not
too late.
start. It's never too late. You are a very young actor compared to some of them, so don't worry.
Nah, yeah,
But
honestly, I mean, I never expected it. So
and then I mean, if you look at people like Alan Rickman, I mean, Alan Rickman didn't really start acting until later, and a
yeah,
lot of other actors did too. So it's very normal, but it's just you're so natural. I just felt like you did it
thank
as your
you.
whole life. It was just wonderful. So
I'm sure I have teachers at home being like, yes, that was me.
I did that for him. I
I
brought
did that for him. That's not him.
I took it down
No.
with him and put it
Hmm.
out there for
He'd
everyone.
be nothing without me.
Nothing. That's what Stella Adler's for.
Exactly. Yeah.
To shape the young actors of the day.
To shape the young actors of the day. Yeah. And
Um,
take their money.
yes. Well, then.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
We'll go in another direction there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a tangent I'm not sure if we should go on, but
Yeah.
it was
Yeah. We don't
cool.
want to
What
alienate
do we
anyone.
think,
I'm
everyone?
sorry. Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, I think we all have thoughts on conservatory programs and how they work and all.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, I've talked about it before. I'm not sure that I'm not sure I would only do a conservatory program. I would rather have had a liberal arts school than just go to a conservatory.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then doing a conservatory after the fact, I think makes sense. But to have a chance to
Sure.
get into that now.
Honestly, I wish there were just more apprenticeships. Like that used to be kind of a thing for actors, especially like back in olden times. It was pretty
1990s, so.
common to, yeah, right. It was pretty common to apprentice as an actor, and now that's not really a thing. They all expect you to kind of go to school. But I honestly, I think I really made a lot of progress even beforehand, because by the time I started acting, I just like did not leave the stage. I just like refused. So I was doing like 4 to 5 plays in a year.
Oh wow!
So it was literally like, and of course, like a play might take 2 months of your life to like put
Yeah,
up. And so I was
or
spending
more
like
even.
10
Yeah,
months or more like on stage as much as possible. If I wasn't doing something with the community theater, I was doing something with my university. And if I wasn't doing something with either of them, I was trying to do my own thing. Yeah, I was just trying to streamline as much of it as I could. I was just hooked completely.
I think that's great. What's your favorite theater role that you've had then?
Oh gosh, I've had a few
Sure,
that I really like. What's that?
putting you on the spot now. Tell me
Putting
your
you on the spot. Oh no. I've definitely had a few that I've just like really loved. I haven't got to do tons of Shakespeare. I've done a few, and I got to play Caliban in The Tempest in college. That was really cool.
That's always fun.
And I had these like massive like boils on my back. I think like
Oh,
the prosthetic that I wore was like around 15 pounds, and I was like crawling around on stage.
oh, that's
Um,
incredible. Oh,
I loved that. And then I got to do a role. I got to do a role where I won an award, which was pretty cool, called an unproduced. I think it's an unproduced screenplay about the death of Walt Disney or something like that.
oh,
I can't remember the entire title, but I played Walt Disney's brother, which
okay.
was really cool. And that kind of relationship between the two of them as like the Disney company kind of grew. and all that kind of stuff, and how they kind of started off really close and managed to kind of like part as things went along, and especially as like Walt got sicker and sicker in his later life. That was really cool. And then more recently, I've been working with a really cool playwright named Mark McKnight, and he does some really kind of like cerebral, very just kind of like interesting, like world building type plays. We did a play together called God, what was it called? Now my brain is broken. Like Father Like Salt. It was the play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like Father Like Salt, and it was super interesting characters. And one of the things that I keep poking on him about all the time is literally like this kind of like world building that he does. He created this kind of post apocalyptic like Texas, and it was just really interesting and a lot of fun. Yeah, so those would be my three. Right,
That's fun.
off the top of my head.
I love the unexpected synergy of having Nakia in Disneyland and you winning an award for Walt Disney's brother.
For a Disney play.
So that's a very unplanned synergy. Everyone just look
there. Yeah,
I like to find weird connections wherever there is, because that's the English major in me. I mean, that's
exactly that. You couldn't write this, people. It just happened.
It just happened.
Yeah.
But we planned it. That's what we did. No, we did not plan it.
But and a little interesting fact: when that play, the competition that we went to is where I auditioned for grad schools, and that's how I got into Stella.
Oh, great. Okay.
So if I would never had gone for that competition show, that's probably why it's one of my favorites. But if I would never gone for that, I would have never ended up in New York, and I would have never ended up meeting you.
And that would be criminal. So I am.
That would be criminal.
I'm glad for the death of Walt Disney.
Just keep dying, Walt.
Walt, just keep dying, and
just
we'll
keep dying.
So
yeah, it's making people's lives better.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So Alvin. So for everyone who hasn't understood yet, Alvin and I first met on the set of A Taste of Youth. He plays a character who is definitely one of the more probably straight characters that I've written. I don't usually write characters quite as straight as Dawn, who Alvin plays, but it was definitely a role that was out of my usual world of characters.
Hey, so, I think you did a wonderful job.
I think so, but you brought him to life, and you made him even more unlikable than I wrote him. So, in all the good ways, of course, that a character is unlikable. Yeah. So. And then we worked together again on a Brooklyn Butcher, and Alvin played one of the typical characters that I would write. Named
Antoine.
Oh, Antoine, indeed. But it's an interesting thing because I never planned it when I was writing the different episodes, but the way that the movie worked out, in a lot of ways, it is Antoine is one of the sort of main characters of it.
Yeah, Antoine is kind of, and even when I read it, it was kind of exciting because Antoine had like final girl vibes.
He did, absolutely.
I guess, final guy vibes. Yeah.
We say final gay, actually. That's
literally what I thought, and I held back. I shouldn't.
Trust your instincts, Alvin.
I should have trusted it. Yeah, but yeah, he's the final gay. And that was super exciting. And honestly, I don't know if we ever talked about this, but thank you very much for allowing me to play Antoine, just because that was something that not only stretched me a little bit, but I was actively, I know you remember this probably a little bit, I was actively nervous to play Antoine a little bit. Not that I couldn't play him, but that I was afraid of offending someone, or I was afraid of leaning into a caricature. And so thank you for allowing me to or being confident enough in me to allow me to have the confidence in myself to do it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm you're very welcome. But I've worked with people before who aren't sure about playing gay roles, especially because they're I know it's a complicated time right now when it comes to playing a role of something that you don't identify as. Yeah. I think when you're in my personal feelings are, and you can tell me if you disagree or not, but at least with gay roles and queer roles in general, if the project itself is extremely queer, and the project itself is a lot of people in front of and behind the camera are represented from the community.
Hmm.
I think it's okay to bring people in who are not necessarily from the community 100%, because I think that I think there's still a room for acting to a degree, that people should
Sure.
be able to put on new identities and explore what that means, because and um, I think that there's people who are just very comfortable with blurring and blending. I think I recently, for some reason, rewatched. You don't strike me as a Drag Race watcher, but maybe I'm
I
wrong.
actually love Drag Race. I haven't
Well,
watched it in a while,
I see.
but
I'm
yeah,
wrong. This is the wrong assumptions on my part for that.
yeah. No, sorry about that.
Good. I'm so glad.
Yeah,
Um,
no.
do you remember Maddie Morphosis? Did you ever see Maddie Morphosis?
That sounds familiar.
Maddie
Yes.
Morphosis is the one straight drag queen that they had on the show.
Yes. Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah.
So for some reason you remind me a little bit of Maddie,
Oh,
in
interesting.
in all the good ways, because you're very comfortable in a
All the bad.
community. You're very comfortable in the community, and you're very comfortable being around people who are like I never. Sometimes when you're working with an actor who isn't necessarily identifying as queer,
Sure.
you feel like they feel like they're second guessing, or they're not sure, or they're
Hmm.
they are they do more to remind you that they're not queer or something. Uh,
Interesting.
but with you, you just you feel very comfortable to be around, and in a way
Oh,
that
thank you.
in a way that's complimentary. I hope.
No, no, no. Yeah, no. I really appreciate that. That's a very big compliment. That that I'm comfortable. I'm a comfortable person.
You are safe. So,
Yeah.
but no, I think I've said this to people before, that uh, it's I always there are many times where I'm on a set where I can tell that this is a set run by straight people, and
Sure.
and
Okay.
and
Yeah.
not because anyone's doing anything wrong, not because anyone's being disrespectful, but
Hmm.
there is a different energy. There's
Yeah.
something different in the air, and it's not because anyone's doing anything inappropriate. It's simply
Yeah.
because there's an element of this is run by straight people kind of thing. So
Oh, and just to kind of pick on you a little bit, do you like what does that energy feel like to you? Like I'm interested to hear that. Like, is it just like kind of the way people hold themselves? Is it kind of the attitude towards each other? Like, what does that feel like to you?
there's an element of because I'm obviously very open about it. So
Sure.
about my identity and everything. So most people generally are well aware that I'm queer on set. But
Right.
so there's an element of me feeling slightly othered for some reason. Like they
Like an
keep
alienation type
a little
thing?
bit of an alienation at times. There's I was just on a set that was very clearly run by it was three straight guys and me, but we were doing
Sure.
a gay scene, and
Okay.
it was just it was a very different energy. Like I was
Hmm.
there to hook up with the other character.
Yeah.
Not personally, like, and the actor Josh was not there.
Yeah,
The
right.
character
The
was there
character.
to hook up with the other character, and
Hmm.
it was a gay scene, but it was done in a way that like the energy was just like there was nothing authentic about it. Um, I didn't
Hmm.
feel like this didn't feel like what two gay people would be doing,
Sure. So
and
like almost like ignorant of I don't want to say the process because lovemaking I guess is a process, but like we don't want to consider it a process. But yeah, it felt like this is what a straight person would do. This is what a straight person thinks that gay people do.
a little bit like that, a little bit like,
Hmm.
and again, they were very polite, they were very kind, they were very friendly,
Sure.
but it was like an energy of like, okay, they have no idea what this scene would be like, if it were
Yeah.
done by two gay people, and if it was on a set with queer people, and
Sure.
so there's just this unspoken difference that you can feel a lot of times on set. And when I don't
Yeah.
feel it around people who don't identify as queer, then I'm like, oh, okay, they it's really comfortable to have them around because they clearly don't feel awkward being here, and
Right.
they enjoy the energy that we're putting out and everything. It's
Yeah.
all, it's again not a negative thing, and no one's doing it. It's just one of those things that you
Yeah.
notice.
It's just kind of, yeah, it makes the air a little thicker, I think. It makes it, yeah. Does it make you more anxious on set or anything like that?
Not not always anxious.
Mm,
I'm always anxious when I go to a set that I don't know anything about, and I know it's going to be run by straight people.
say,
I
well,
fully.
not even the necessarily straight people thing. I just like, if I don't know what's going on, I'm always scared.
I guess for me it's more. I feel if it's run by queer people, I feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because there's just something about it that it just makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. Um, it's sort of. Did you ever see the movie Bros with Billy Eichner? It
I
was the
know what
gay.
you're talking about. I did not see it.
So that movie is very very gay, but it's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
clearly made for straight people.
Interesting.
It's like a gay movie that's made for straight people.
I might watch this just to be like, what the heck?
Versus like one of my movies, and you've been in them, so you've seen them.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
I know
One of my
exactly what they're like.
movies,
Yeah.
I'm often accused of being a movie that I make movies for queer people, and so
That's a problem. How?
well, because it doesn't invite in an audience of straight people to watch, and the
It's
audience of
not for
straight
them.
people is the mainstream audience. So,
It's not for you. Yeah.
and it's not, but it's sort of like that's the energy that you. That's the small. There's subtle differences. There are small things there
Sure.
that that you can't really point to, and I feel like I'm rambling a little bit about it, but that's sort of
No,
what I
no.
talk about, and all of this is really to go back to the fact that I always feel like having you on set, you don't feel othered, hopefully, and
No, not at all.
I don't feel othered having you around. So that's sort of the long and short of what we talked about. What I got to
Yeah.
this point.
No, no, I mean, it makes complete sense. It's just it's interesting to kind of hear your point of view on that. I mean, especially being someone, the straight guy in the room,
Mhm.
usually I am like, a part of like the mainstream, as you said. And it's interesting to like kind of flip-flop that for a moment and see, because for you to feel like that in a so-called straight environment, right? And
Mhm.
yet when I am in an environment with you guys, I don't feel that at all. I don't feel alienated, I don't feel othered, I
Mhm.
feel like I'm a part of this. So that to me is in a way disappointing, because it's like, oh, okay, well, where's the reciprocation there, where like clearly someone can be comfortable in one place, but we can't make that person comfortable in this other place.
I think some of it's probably and I've had other gay and queer actors tell me these similar things when we've talked about it and all. When
Sure.
we have our secret meetings and all to talk about things like
The
the
dark
secret queer
meeting.
meetings about acting in the
The
world.
queer meeting.
We have our monthly meetings and all,
Yeah.
but no, we've
The Illuminality.
exactly. Um, we have to use that somewhere. But no, it's it's not like anyone's even really doing something wrong, and some of it might
No.
just be us. Some of it might just be what
Yeah.
we're bringing to it because we have growing up gay and queer. There's always a little bit of fear that you have inside you,
Yeah.
and I think especially in the world that we have right now, um, I think a lot of us were surprised and are continue to be surprised by people's revealing who they are,
I
and
am too. 100%. Yeah.
um, because we thought I think we got too complacent. I think in the past 10 years, in terms of people accept gays and like us, and we're okay,
Yeah.
and all that to say is we don't know. I think there's a little bit more of not showing who we can trust and all that. But
No, 100%, especially with everything that's going on, especially
ugh,
who's kind of stepping up to the plate. We don't have to talk about that. There's tons of people who talk about that for us.
we don't need to.
I'm
We can just
sure.
talk about but and then and this also goes back to what you were saying though. Just to pull it back to what you were talking about, I think
Mm,
that it's really great that you wanted to and you weren't afraid to. You afraid is the wrong word. You were willing to embrace and celebrate the chance to play a character like Antoine because you
Yeah.
wanted to push yourself in a direction that you've never done before. So
Well, and it's interesting that you mentioned stuff about fear. And fear, I mean, that's fear has ruled my life for so long that it's really become one of those things that I kind of, in an odd way, like as an actor, try to chase now a little bit. Where
hmm
it's like, okay, if this thing is freaking me out, like if it makes me afraid, chances are this is something I should probably do. Just because I need to prove to myself that I can do it.
I like
Either
that.
that, yeah, or either that, or it's just like if you're afraid of it, it's probably something that like you're creating some sort of monster in your head,
Mhm.
and it doesn't belong here, right? Like you're just an actor, right? You're not a brain surgeon. Like you're gonna be fine. And so yeah, it's nice to kind of face that fear like
Yeah.
head on and try something that otherwise, I mean, otherwise I might not even have an opportunity to do, because that's also something too, is something I also try to do is when an opportunity kind of comes knocking, I try to say yes more than no.
Yeah.
Just because most of the time you never, like, in even in our situation, like you never know what kind of relationship can like be developed through this. You never know what kind of like project this ultimately comes to be. Yeah, it's very interesting to kind of find these little obstacles, and those obstacles end up being huge investments in the long run.
I've tried to start operating even more similarly to that, like that. I think
Yeah,
that I think it's fun to try things that are outside of my wheelhouse, which is why I'm doing the
yeah,
contract in some ways because I think a lot of what I've written in the contract I'm very nervous about because it's stuff that
sure,
is going to push me in ways physically and mentally. I think, but at the same
yeah.
time, I'm excited by that. So yeah, I
As you should
totally
be. Yeah.
agree with you in that regard. So
Yeah, and honestly, bringing up the contract, I mean, in all your films, like you kind of talking earlier about how, like, oh, you don't necessarily you don't make a movie for a mainstream audience, and people look like might judge you for that or something like that. But honestly, that's one of my biggest allures, like to your work, right? Is something I kind of decided for myself. I don't know, and honestly, you might have helped me come to this conclusion, but I'm kind of getting to a space where I want to help people make movies that they want to watch. You know what I mean? And so when you make these movies, these are the movies that you wanted to see. These are
mhm.
the movies that, like, growing up, you were like, oh, I wish there was a movie like this. Because we've
Yeah,
all been there, I think, where you're just sitting in the movie theater, you might be enjoying the movie, but you're like, dang, I just wish there was a movie like this, though. Or I wish there was a movie with a character like this,
hmm
or someone I can identify with more, or someone like it, just something a little different. And that to me is very, very cool and very, very addicting. It's like, and what I just want to be around more. It's like, oh, are you making the things that you wanted to see? I want to be a part of that. Like, how can I help you make that thing?
I
Because
love
that's
that.
something I dream about. It's like I want to make the movies that I wanted to watch, because I mean it's easy to make movies, just because, oh, this is really popular right now, or this is like you said, this is what the mainstream wants. Yeah, I mean that's great, and it definitely has its place, and you definitely like have your directors who are like, I'm going to make a Marvel movie or whatever, and there's a place for them, and that's awesome. I don't mean to pick on them by any means, but I personally, I think I'm more interested in the people trying to bring their kind of dreams to life, I think.
And I mean, you can still, and there's so much room for that in the mainstream to make money too. Because
I
look
think
at
so.
some of the best movies last year were movies that nobody would really have touched, but somehow they just got
Sure.
lucky. Like just The Substance is one great example of that.
Yeah.
Like
Movie's
that
crazy.
movie, that movie is nuts. It is
Yeah.
so weird and
It's so weird.
wonderful, and and I mean, Paramount actually didn't want it, or Universal. One of Universal, I think.
Sure.
Universal paid for it, but then didn't want it. They wanted a
They were
bunch of
like,
changes, And so
Yeah.
they're like, the director was like, no, I'm not making those changes. So they got rid of
No,
it. They said, we're not releasing it then. Someone else can. And Movie did, and
it's
Movie made
huge.
tons of money.
Yeah.
And so, and again, I also don't think movies need to make $1 billion to be successful. Like,
No, and I think
just
that's like kind of the world we're living in, and it hurt. I think it like it almost damns indie filmmakers while also putting so much pressure on the studios to make these like box office hits, and then they miss. Like, I
a
mean,
lot of times they miss, like
a
so many
lot of
times.
time. Like, so what did Sony releases like? What was it? Craven the Hunter, and did it make like 15 million its opening weekend?
And
It's like what?
so much of these movies are spending money on, and I love actors. I am an actor, but
I am
there's
one.
so much
Yeah.
movie money that's spent on the actors. Like
Sure,
like
sure.
Netflix canceled. They were going to, at one point. Netflix was going to do a rom com with Michael Fassbender and someone else, and
Mhm.
it was going to cost $250 million, and
What?
it's a
A
rom
rom-com?
com. It's a rom coms are supposed to be like $30 million.
Yeah, max. Or
And but because
yeah.
Michael Fassbender was in it, it was going to cost just like $100 million just for him or something, and it's nuts.
Well, and that's I mean, that's always one of those things, right? That's it's kind of irritating and it's kind of nice at the same time because we all kind of aspire to it, right?
Yes,
Which is we
I
want to
don't
be the
blame.
$100 million actor. Yeah, I want to be Michael Fassbender. I want $100 million for my movie and all that kind of stuff.
I mean,
But also,
look at
oh yeah, so
look at the Russo brothers. I mean,
yeah,
they're getting paid $80 million to direct the next Marvel movie, a Doomsday. 80 million.
80 million, right?
I know
Do
what a
you
director has to do. It's not $80 million
It's
worth.
not $80 million. Oh, and my thing is like, I get it, but like you could have made a movie with what they paid you,
Hmm.
right? And and I get it. Life is expensive. You know, we all want to be big, like big baller. You know, I got all the money, but $80 million a movie, $100 million a movie. Like, do you really need all that money?
I think Robert
Come
Downey Jr.
on.
is getting paid $80 million for the next movie as well. But we know his screen time is going to be like 15 minutes, and
Yeah.
80 million for 15 minutes, like that's sorry, no
I
actor.
mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I wish I had 1 minute. uh, but
Craven was released at the wrong time. It really should have been a January February movie. I don't know why.
that's 100% probably true. But honestly, like, and this is of course my personal opinion. I'm not trying to push this on these movies, but the past few movies I've seen released from Sony's kind of like Spider-Verse type stuff have been absolutely like, I'm not going to say horrible. I'm going to say not for me.
Confusing.
Confusing. Who is this movie for? Who wrote this script? Um, like that kind of stuff. Though I agree, like the time frame was pretty awful.
But that's why more people need to invest lower amounts of money in the movies and give
Yeah,
us movies which are true vision. Like again, if you look, Substance is one example, but Cuckoo was
yeah,
another movie that came out last year, and Cuckoo was so
yeah.
original
I
and
still have
so
yet to watch
creative.
that, but it's been like one of those movies I keep thinking about. Like I was like, I want to watch this. I want to watch this. Yeah.
And one of the movies I'm most excited for this year is I can't remember the exact title, but I think it's I Killed a Unicorn or the Death of a Unicorn,
Death of a Unicorn. I've heard about this.
and it just looks so interesting. It's so original, and
Yeah.
it's I'm excited for that. So
100%.
and I don't think it costs a lot because it's an A24 movie. So
Yeah.
uh,
Well, and that's what always been interesting because you do have these kind of smaller, they're still pretty big, but kind of these smaller yeah, companies, producers and stuff, like things like A24, Blumhouse has always been a really great example to me. They just give everyone like what $5 million or something, and it's
something
like
like that,
that's your
yeah.
budget. That's what you do with and honestly that constraint like makes that kind of limited sandbox makes you have to be more creative in solving
It does.
and your solutions when it comes to making things happen.
More
Because I think when
practical
you get
effect.
to a certain budget,
Yeah.
like it's like, oh, well, we can just keep spending money until it works. It's like, yeah, but then you lose out on like ingenuity, you lose out on creativity, you lose out on people maybe inventing a new way of doing things. Which of course, I guess, I mean, if you have the money, no complaint, but I don't
But
know.
then it just becomes so boring because it becomes a mishmash of
Yeah.
visual like CGI.
Yeah.
And like I I guess the first Spider-Verse movie, Inside Welcome to This or whatever, I can't remember the first one's title.
Yeah.
But like
Into
it's
the
a good
Spider
movie.
Verse.
It's a good it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Then the ending gets really just like mushy with all the non the
Mm.
blur of animation and all that.
Yeah,
But
it's hard
then
to like focus.
and then you get the Black Panther movie, and the Black Panther movie is great until the last
Mhm.
fight, and then the last fight is just like two people who look exactly the same because they're wearing CGI costumes that are just color swapped, they're like playing
Yeah.
Sub-Zero, both of us in Mortal Kombat or something.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. We're fighting each other and it keeps blurring. We're not
yeah.
sure who's who. Yeah.
So I just it's I would like to see smaller budgeted films being
Yeah.
made, and following director visionaries like.
Yeah.
So I again, this goes back to what you said, which was you just want to see people make movies that they want to make, and I think that's beautiful. I think that's
Oh, thank you.
important to do, and I'm grateful that you're there to support us. I mean,
Of course.
you are a producer on the contract, so therefore
Yay.
that is a big reason. You're a big help, and you're a big part
Thank
of
you.
making this movie happen. So thank you for that.
Well, and after doing like, of course, multiple projects with you at this point, I had at least was at a point where I was like, this is someone not only that I want to work with, but I want to make sure that, I can be a part of making their stuff happen and stuff like that. So I'm excited. I'm also thankful and excited to just be able to do that for you. Yeah.
And I think it's so. Do you see yourself as somebody who wants to be more behind the scenes or and on camera going forward, or do you want to keep doing both?
Well, that's the thing. They kind of have their own place, right? I
Yeah.
think it's one of those things where, as an actor, that is the thing that I almost want to say like keeps me awake at night. But no, that's the thing that like I truly love, right? A good example was I was literally at work the other day and I was having a tough day, but I decided to take an acting book with me and read it. And just by reading the acting book, I was happier.
Oh,
I was
good.
feeling more fulfilled. So that's something, acting is something that I'm constantly thinking about and I'm constantly trying to evolve in myself and make more strides in. But there's also a piece of me that is kind of this creator who definitely just, I'm kind of sick of this sitting back on my heels a little bit.
Hmm.
And the older I get, the more I'm like, okay, I don't want to stand around and wait for everything. I want to help make things. I want to make things. And even if it can't, be useful as an actor, how else can I be useful? Can I be a producer? Can I be a director? Can I be a PA? Can I be, how can I just make myself useful so that these things can be created? Right.
Hmm.
Um, so I see myself everywhere. I think I see myself. I think there are different skill sets. I think it'd be nice to have knowledge in all those skill sets. I think I definitely have a lot more knowledge as an actor than I do as a producer, and so
Hmm.
that's something I'm working on. But it's also just something that's nice to have in the back pocket. I think when
Yeah.
even approaching as an actor, and vice versa. Like it's nice. I'm sure you feel this way, especially as a director. It's nice to have that acting in the back pocket because now I can talk to an actor and it be comfortable and it makes
Yeah.
sense and I can get what I want out of them versus like, oh, I have never acted a day in my life. I can just tell you be sad or be happy or stand on your mark, and it's different, I think.
Yeah. It's
Hmm.
very different having a director who's acted and things than directing for sure.
Oh yeah, and you can tell.
You
You can
can
very tell.
absolutely
Yeah,
tell.
very much so.
No, I think that's I think it's great to want to do a little bit of everything because you started
Yeah.
to make your own movies. I know as well.
Meh.
I mean, hey, you're taking the first steps, so I think that's
Yeah.
and you because I know I watched and read the script and then watched one that you did with Elio,
Yeah.
and you edited that one,
You,
right?
we haven't released that yet. You know
You
why?
haven't
Because
released
it
it yet.
doesn't have music. Oh, all it needs is music, and then
I
I'll
can
release
help
it.
you with that. I have somebody who can
I
talk
do
to.
need your help. I need to just go ahead and do it. I've been sitting on my hands, just being like, well, maybe I'll make the music, or maybe like someone will fall into my lap. I've at least approached 2 or 3 different people to make music, and all of them have just like either just been like meh and fallen off, or I just have not heard from them.
I can
I'm like,
introduce
do
you
you
to
hate the
somebody.
movie? Is
I
that
can
what it is?
introduce you to somebody who'll be very willing to make it. So
Please, yes, please do that. Just because honestly, it would not be hard to make the music. I want something very basic, very kind of just kind of Atmos. That's all I really want, you know. And then I'll release that and I'll hate it.
well, that's what we do. We release things and then we hate them. So
And then we hate them. That's what we do. We
I,
release
I
them and
I've,
we hate
I
them.
think I've said this to you. I don't remember if I did or not, but every time I watch A Taste of Youth, I have a different reaction to it.
Interesting.
I will watch it and I'll love it, and then the next time I'll watch it and I'll be like, this is awful. What did I
This
do?
is awful.
Why did I not do this, and this? And then I'll watch it again and I'll be
Yeah.
like, I really love this movie. This is so good. and
Well, it's kind of. I bet a lot of it has to do with your mood at the time, or like
probably,
in my case, like I'll have days where I'm feeling very secure in myself, and I'll
yeah.
watch something. I was like, I'm not half bad in this, or whatever, and then I'll have a day where I'm feeling insecure, and I'm like, this is horrible. Every little thing, nitpick.
I
You
will say when we watched The Taste of Youth in Brooklyn at
know?
the festival, I was very happy with it, and I was like, "This is a great
I was
movie."
very
So
happy
happy.
with it. Honestly, like I'm always kind of afraid. I get this whole like anxiety moment anytime before I come up on screen. Like it's almost like dread. I'm
Yeah,
like it's building up. I'm like I'm gonna pop up on screen. I'm gonna hate this. I'm gonna pop up on screen. I'm gonna hate this. But I had so much fun watching A Taste of You, and especially being like in that kind of theater environment is always really
yeah,
nice.
it was really nice
Yeah,
to have that opportunity.
and
So
I'm super excited for like everyone else to see it. Like,
yeah, I
yeah.
need to. My big thing next that I need to figure out is how to make ISO files. So because
Oh, ISO file.
in order to make a Blu-ray, I need to save it as an ISO file, and that's the thing I don't know how to do yet. And it's weird because it seems like the only way to do it now is to pay somebody
Sure.
else to do it, because there used to be like a million ways to do it for free in like the early 2010s, but then it seems
Sure.
like all those programs have disappeared, and
Interesting.
now it's just like with all capitalism,
Yeah.
it's all in one person's hand, and you
Yeah.
pay them
It's
thousands of dollars, like literally
they've
it's thousands,
monopolized the ISO industry.
and it's thousands of dollars to get this made into an ISO
Wow.
file.
Just to put it in a certain file format?
Just to put it in a certain format and give you
That's
like a blue
crazy.
screen menu kind of thing. Like I can't
Whoa.
believe how much money it costs based on the companies that
Yeah,
are
that's
doing that,
ridiculous.
and I don't understand it. So I know there's a way you can do it yourself because people do it themselves. They have to.
Yeah, they
So
have to. I mean, these people who are being paid thousands of dollars do it. So there must be
exactly.
a person does this.
So there must
Yeah.
be an option somehow. So
Yeah.
so
That's crazy.
that is my next goal, because ultimately my plan is to put the Brooklyn Butcher and A Taste of
Hmm.
Youth on Blu-ray this year, so that way people can get copies. So
Yay. Buy all the copies. All of them.
all the copies. So
Yeah. Three
um,
copies a piece so you can give them to your family.
exactly, everyone wants a copy of the Brooklyn Butcher and A Taste of Youth. So
Yes. Hand them out on the street. I don't care. Buy them all.
just buy everything you can. So
Yeah.
that's my next goal, and then people can see all of your brilliant performances though, and go from
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Brilliant. But I performed.
you performed, and
I
you
performed brilliantly.
yes, you
It's not
did.
necessarily a brilliant performance.
Well, we can go with that. I accept that as the way you rephrased it enough. So
I'm sorry. Honestly, that's something I'm trying to work on this year. I need to do a lot less of kind of the self-loathing, self-flagellating,
it's
where it's
hard.
like, oh, I could have just been better. It's like, dude, you did your job. Like,
Well,
it's okay.
if you ever feel like flagellating yourself on set for the contract, I will have some whips there, so you can
That's
just
me. You
take
know, I
them.
am
So,
just put me in the credits as flagellator.
and there we go. That's perfect. So,
Yeah, and I'll just sit there. It'll be like Monty Python. I'll just kind of walk around set and just kind of flagellate.
who's that guy in the corner? Don't mind him. He's my
Don't
flagellator.
mind him. He just does that. You
He
know,
just does
I'll
that.
hum to myself. Mm.
It'll be like the sometimes the cut scene from Sweeney Todd, where because the I don't know if you've seen Sweeney Todd. The judge will sometimes have a flagellation scene. So
Oh yeah,
it depends on
I'll be the
the
judge.
production. So you could be the judge and just flagellating yourself as you're singing about Joanna.
Mm.
So
Mm.
and creepily trying to have a romantic relationship with your stepdaughter. So
Yeah, and it's
that's
kind of
one
crazy that beating yourself with a whip is seen as like a way of decompressing.
yeah.
Uh,
Hey,
it's,
I get it. I guess.
yeah, right, yeah, I totally understand.
So we are almost out of time, which is surprising. I didn't think that
Oh
this would go by
man,
so quickly, but I've
I
had
could
so much
talk
fun
for so
talking to
much longer.
you. Well, we have such good stuff to talk about. So
Yeah.
I think that like I still haven't even asked what's on your cap because I'm very curious. I
Oh,
can't quite
it's
make it out.
it- let's look
Oh,
at
it's Daffy Duck. Okay.
yeah, he's a little sad, just kind of hanging out.
He
Little
does
melancholy King Daffy Duck.
what a sad looking Daffy Duck.
Yeah, he's just kind of, you know,
But he
it's
is a king.
sad being king.
He's a king there. Oh, we have got a comment about yes, the Dom made a failed boy beat himself with a flagell. Yes, we can do that.
Yeah, that's me.
There we go.
Thank
We'll
you.
put
Thank
you
you.
in
I'm now casted as
as
I
failed
am
boy.
failed boy.
So
Failed boy flagellator.
you'll be failed boy. So not flail boy, failed boy. So
Yeah, failed boy. Yeah. That's me.
uh,
Failed boy.
we're gonna have a lot of fun. Alvin and I will be living together for 9 days in February, so I'm looking forward to
Mm-hmm.
that. So
I'm making spaghetti, apparently.
yes, every night of the week we're having spaghetti. So
Every night. Every single night.
lots of spaghetti. So nothing but spaghetti everywhere.
Yeah. We'll just switch up the sauce.
We
You
are
know,
we
we have
are
red
working with
sauce. We have
everyone. If you're vegan,
Alfredo.
no problem. We've got spaghetti. If you're
We
not
got
vegan,
spaghetti.
no problem. We
Yeah.
get spaghetti.
Don't worry. It's
Get
yeah,
spaghetti.
it'll be
Get
fine.
spaghetti. Everyone gets spaghetti. Um, we'll have to put spaghetti in the movie too, just to have
Yeah. Let's say it's in the film. The failed boy eating spaghetti.
in his corner with his spaghetti, flogging
Yeah.
himself and
But,
we have to do that at some point. But
yeah, there you go.
I see. I wanted to even ask. I didn't even have a chance to ask you about your thoughts on the Brutalist and the evidence that came out today or yesterday about the use of AI in the Brutalist. I wanted to ask you about that.
Oh, I haven't even heard of this. That's kind of awesome.
So,
You're informing me now. They used AI in the Brutalist?
so apparently, the sound editor used AI in the Brutalist to correct the pronunciation of Hungarian words by the actors because
Oh,
Adrian Brody and I don't know his co-stars, but they
sure.
used AI to replace the words that he said with Hungarian pronunciation. So and
That's weird.
it came out this
Hmm.
weekend, I guess. So
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. That I'm kind of in a weird spot with that example. With AI in general, I'm very concrete, which is like less. Less. But the, uh, as a corrective thing, I mean, maybe I could see that being like, okay, you could also just ADR'd, but you were just lazy.
apparently they tried to ADR, but they weren't satisfied with the results because
And so they were
Hungarian
like,
is a difficult language. So
we'll get robots to do it instead.
that's what they said. So um
Um,
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. It's such a new thing. I wish there's a piece of me that wants to be kind of a purist and be like, no AI. Like, this is a creative endeavor. Get out. Like, there's no place here, right? There's also like the logic piece of me that's like, if we don't do it, they're gonna do it anyway.
Mhm.
So it's coming, and we can reject it for as long as we can, but other people are going to kind of use it to their advantage in some way, or disadvantage, I have to say, because AI cannot make something new. It can only copy things. Or it can only be inspired by things that it has downloaded or gone through its algorithm type stuff. I mean, correcting some pronunciation. I mean, maybe I won't shoot you in the back of the house or something like that.
But
But
do they?
it is a weird kind of thing to be like, hey man, like why? Like, also, actor, work on your Hungarian. If you're
It's
going to take a
complicated.
Hungarian role, work on your Hungarian, or maybe hire a Hungarian person, Hungarian native.
That would be useful.
You could have just done that,
But
you
instead,
know,
you had to make a 3.5 hour movie with Adrian Brody first. So
because you want money. Because Adrian, well, and that was something, and of course we're out of time. That was something I wanted to ask about too. Is like, how do you feel about, because I definitely understand with this kind of the love for the director and these small budget movies in America specifically. But
yeah,
now that we have markets in China, we have markets in India, like these major populations, right, all over the world. Star power carries so much weight than
it
ever
really
before,
does.
right?
Yeah,
Because they know these people. They want Adrian Brody to be in the movie because they'll watch it, and studios see this, and I
yeah,
think that's why they're willing to make these huge gambles, especially with the superhero films, because they're like, these characters are like popular, these actors are popular. We don't necessarily have to invest a lot of money or time in production or pre-production. We'll just go straight into it, and we'll make it back in foreign markets. And it's
yeah.
like it's lazy filmmaking is what ends up happening. But yeah, like, how do you feel about that? Like, how do you feel, or even can indie filmmakers take advantage of foreign markets, stuff
Well,
like that?
indie filmmakers can take advantage of celebrity. If you have a connection to a
Mm,
celebrity in some way, shape, or form, and you put them in your movie, you are 3 to 4 times more likely. Well, I'm making up that number. I have no idea what the number would be,
sure.
but you are far more likely to get your movie into a festival
I
than
believe it.
otherwise, because
And you're probably
they'll be
more likely to get funding.
much more likely to
'Cause-
get funding. You're much more likely for a lot of things if you have a connection
mm,
to a celebrity, and it doesn't mean the movie's any better, but
no.
yeah. So
Yeah,
um,
it gives some sort of validity.
we'll have to have you back to talk more about these topics and more things, Alvin.
Yes, please do. I'll come talk to
But,
you forever.
oh, and it seems like Sundance is this weekend, which I forgot about. Um, Sundance is a hard audience to get into because, again,
Mm,
Sundance is a great example of an independent film festival that is now made for mainstream films. So
yeah. And I'm always kind of wary too of like making a film specifically to just target an audience, because where like you kind of lose your love in that. It's like, are you
yeah,
trying to force something towards a target audience? That feels like I'm trying to please someone versus make something that you truly believe in.
but you are right that Blatcher that I would love to have a film in Sundance, and
So would I.
I have to think about how to. These are things that I'll be thinking about going forward about how much I balance my love of what I want to tell the stories of
Mm.
versus how to get people to watch the movies.
Well, hey, do you remember that idea I gave you like on your birthday like last year?
That's true. Yeah.
I have been thinking about that film a little bit, and I was like, dang, this kind of could work both ways, right?
Yeah.
Where it could be a little bit more mainstream while also kind of maintaining your vibe.
That's true.
Your, so maybe that's something we think about.
Something to revisit then. But
Yeah.
Alvin, how can people find you online?
You can find me online through Instagram, where you find everyone else at Alvin Christmas. Pretty easy. Yeah, you can find me there. A couple of plugs if you're interested. I have an episode of FBI Most Wanted coming out in February, So look out for that. Pretty cool. I'm also co-starring in a new show coming out called The Better Sister. That's coming out on, I want to say, Amazon Prime. I'm not sure when, but that's coming soon. Maybe this summer or something like that. I also released a comedy skit last night called Putin on YouTube. If you'd like to find, that's through Wet Paint Productions. That's kind of my production company that is not licensed in any way, so you could literally steal everything. So maybe I should look into that. But yeah, honestly, yeah, Instagram's probably best at Alvin Christmas.
No TikTok for you?
No TikTok for me. I'm not a
Now that it's back,
TikToker.
you should. Now's when you capitalize.
Which is funny. I literally downloaded TikTok like 2 days ago because I'm like, you're not going to be able to get it in the App Store, and I'm just going to have it in case I want it. And I made the right choice. So it's just sitting on my phone. Maybe I should TikTok more. I don't know.
Yeah, you can put Putin on TikTok.
I could put Putin on TikTok. Yeah, I could.
Alvin plays Putin, everyone. He's very funny. So and
he
disappears into the role. I did not recognize Alvin for a moment when I looked at it.
It's my Oscar nominated performance.
It's true. I felt like I was watching Oppenheimer.
I mean, it's quite the biopic. I will say a little thing about that. I have Ukrainian subtitles. I went out of my way because I had this idea. I was like, hey, if I'm going to make fun of this guy, it'd be really cool to kind of have like Ukrainian soldiers just like sitting around bored with their phones and watch me make fun of Putin. If they want.
I love that.
No one's not actually going to do that, but it was an idea.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah,
I did not know that a large number of people from Saudi Arabia would watch our shows on YouTube, but they do. So
that's awesome.
Saudi Arabia is our second largest demographic, in fact, on YouTube. So
we love you, Saudis. You're the best.
Thank you so much. But anyway, everyone else, I love you all. Help me and Alvin make the contract by going to thecontract.com. And in the meantime, I will see you all next Monday with a new guest. And in the meantime, you have a wonderful week, everybody.
Yes, if you live happy Martin Luther King Day.
Yes, happy Martin Luther King Day, and stay warm this week because it's going to be very cold pretty much everywhere in the country, I think.
We have a winter storm coming in the south.
That's ridiculous that in Mississippi you have a winter storm coming.
Yeah, it's like 14 degrees.
So that you're actually colder right now than New York is.
It's kind of crazy.
It is colder in Mississippi than in New York.
It is in New York.
I love that, but I'm also like, oh, I'm so sorry for you all down there because you're not used to that. So
no.
Anyway, everyone else, I love you. I love you, Alvin. I love everybody. Have a wonderful day and happy Martin Luther King Day, everybody.
And that's the tea.